Okay, this is a study with me session, and I want to look at the idea I had about Potiphar becoming Joseph's understudy or Joseph's subordinate. When Pharaoh elevated Joseph, did he become his boss? Now, it might have been a different captain of the guard by the time Joseph became the second in command in Egypt, but it could have been the same guy. So we're going to think about that. So the first thing I'm going to look up, I'm in Logos. I'm going to look up captain of the guard and just see what comes up in just a general search. Okay, so I'm reading right here. The captain of the guard was a significant position in various ancient contexts, typically referring to a person with authority over a protective force. In Egypt, Potiphar held this title, overseeing the royal bodyguard, and then it gives the two references there. The role often combined military command with civil and judicial responsibilities. The captain of the guard could be responsible for executing capital punishments as seen in some Eastern kingdoms. In Hebrew context, the term might refer to leaders of elite military units or royal bodyguards with duties including protecting the king and carrying out his orders. The size of the unit under a captain's command could vary greatly, from tens to thousands of men. In some cases, the captain of the guard also had the authority to imprison individuals, as implied by references to prison oversight. Okay, so let's go to this link right here and see where that takes us. Okay, it takes us to the Wycliffe Bible Encyclopedia, and it says guard, a man or group of men who protected an important person or special object. There's the Hebrew word bodyguard, i.e., a group bound to another person by obedience. David was a bodyguard's captain under Saul. Benaiah, the group's captain under David. Another Hebrew word, resum, guards, runners, or a royal escort for Absalom and for Adonijah, the royal bodyguard who not only protected the king, but also carried out his wishes. A Hebrew word, mishmar, gaol, or prison. In later times, the man on watch, and also guard or watchman waiting for orders. Hebrew word, tabah, meaning guard, literally meaning a slaughterer or executioner, exclusively of non-Israelites. Of Potiphar, the Egyptian over Joseph. That's the one we're interested in. Of Nebuzaradan. In the New Testament, the RSV translation is guard instead of watch. Okay, so this is the one we're interested in because we just did, this was part of our soundtrack for week 4 of the live stream. So let's go here. Potiphar the Egyptian. Okay, 37, 36. So over here, 37 and verse 36. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt under Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and captain of the guard. See, this is the Hebrew word. So let's double click on that and right click on it. Select that word. And we want to go to the lemma sabah. And what we want to do is a Bible word study on that word. Okay? Now, sabah, butcher and cook, bodyguards and executioners. Cook's a slayer, a cook, an executioner, one of the king's guards. Okay? One of the king's guards, a slayer or cook. Guard. This is our verse here. So, and Joseph was bought, captain of the guard. Genesis 43. And he put them in ward in the house of the captain of the guard, in the house of the captain of the guard, into the prison, the place where Joseph was bound. So that means that Joseph, when he was accused of sleeping with Potiphar's wife, or accused of coming onto her, he was in ward in the house of the captain of the guard. So he was actually in the house of Potiphar. So like his own little private prison. And then look here. And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them, and they continued a season in ward. I don't know what that verse was about. Let's see. Genesis 44. Let's duplicate this tab here. Let's duplicate it, and then let's link it back to, let's link it to A and link that to A, but in this one, turn off the interlinear. Okay. So let's go back to our word study. We was looking at this one, and the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them. Charged Joseph with them. Genesis 40:4. Charged 40:4. And he put them in the ward in the house of the captain guard into the prison. And Pharaoh was wroth against two of his officers, against the chief of the butlers and against the chief of the bakers. And he put them in ward in the house of the captain of the guard into the prison, the place where Joseph was bound. So the butler, the chief of the butlers, and the chief of the bakers was in Potiphar's house, because Potiphar was the captain of the guard, with Joseph. And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them. So charge Joseph with them, and he served them, and they continued a season in ward. 44. Genesis 40:4. Charged Joseph with them. Okay, let's see what the New Living Translation says for the 40:4. Oh, this isn't linked, so let's link set A. Genesis 40:4. They remained in prison for quite some time, and the captain of the guard assigned them to Joseph, who looked after them. So apparently Joseph is in prison, but Potiphar is still giving him work to do. He still trusts him. I had doubts that Potiphar, okay, this thing said that, where is the word study? It said that he was like an executioner. One of the things was executioner. Right here. Imply protecting. Could be responsible for executing capital punishment. He was responsible for that, but he didn't do that to Joseph? Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, so let's look back at this word study here. So this is the word we're looking at, tabah. Let's see if I can make that bigger for you. So that is tet, bet, and hint. Those are the letters. And this looks different. The web version looks very different. So let's do this. Let's open the desktop version of Logos and see if that's any better. Okay. So, it seems like I'm missing a section here. Topic, guard. Hebrew word, guard. Bodyguards and executioners. It looks like the same word. Tet, bit, hit. Let's see how. Where I used to have a thing where it would pronounce it. The word. What happened to that? Then Daniel answered with counsel, captain of the king's guard. So we don't need Greek words. Census, imperial guard. A higher level group of guardians who were responsible for guarding an important individual. And this is how, here's the little thing that I can see how to say it.
Tobath. Tobath.
Tabath.
Tobath.
Okay. This is our verse here. The Midianites sold him into Egypt. So that's the same word. That's the same Hebrew word, guard. Okay. Joseph was brought down to Egypt. Same word, guard. Okay. He put them in Warden the house. We know that's the baker and the butcher. The captain of the guard charged Joseph with them. So clearly that's Potiphar, still giving Joseph orders. Pharaoh was wroth with his servants and put me in ward in the captain of the guard house, both me and the chief baker. That was when the butcher was telling Joseph about getting thrown in prison. Oh, no, this was the story. Let me see. This was the part of the story where he was actually speaking up. He was speaking up when Pharaoh was having his dream. Let's turn off interlinear. And there was a young man with us, a Hebrew servant to the captain of the guard. And we told him, and he interpreted to us our dream. So this is the cupbearer telling Pharaoh that, hey, I knew a guy in prison who can do this, 41:12. So let's go to, let's link it first. Let's link it. Link set A. Right here. And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt and all the wise men thereof. And Pharaoh told them his dream, but there was none that can interpret them unto Pharaoh. Then spake the chief butler, who unto Pharaoh, saying, I do remember, I messed up. When you were mad at us and you put me in prison, I had a dream, and there was a young man. So apparently they're standing around, the magicians and the wise men, everybody's standing there. And finally, they spoke. In the NLT, it says, let's see, where's the NLT? That's over here. Let's make this a little bigger. Make this a little bigger. Is this 41:10? I like the way the NLT put this. Okay. No one, where is it? So he called for all the magicians. No one could tell what they meant. Finally. So everybody's standing around looking at each other, and the cupbearer speaks up. And so evidently this then is translated to finally here. This word right here is translated to finally. So let's go look at that. 41:9. So let's go to this verse. This is Genesis 41:9. Then spake the chief butler and spake. So they translated that differently. So let's go and look at what other translations say. Then spake the butler. So if we do F7, we can see what other translations say. Lexham English Bible says, then the chief of the cupbearer spoke. ESV says then. NLT says finally. The Complete Jewish Bible says then. So that's interesting. What is that verse that said that Joseph became like good with the warden? So let's do a search here. Oh, well, first was that. Let's see. Let's go back up. Pharaoh's dreams. Looking over here, trying to find where it says that Joseph found favor with the warden. And this is what the dreams mean, the 3 baskets. Okay. He was already in prison then. Joseph interprets 2 dreams. Here it is. Before long, the warden put Joseph in charge. So this word right here, warden. So that is 39:22. So let's go to 39:22. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners. So NLT translated that as warden. And let's see if we can uncover anything from these Hebrew words, the words that make up this, keeper of the prison. Genesis 39:22. Genesis 39:22. And the keeper of the prison. And the keeper, Sar, of the prison. So which word means the keeper? Let's see. Let's click on that. Right click on it. Keeper. We want the word that is the lemma. So that would be this. Sar. And let's do a word study on that. Put this down a little bit. Sar.
Sam.
Sar. Okay. Saying it not wrong. Not too wrong. Representative of the king. Official. Commander. District leader. Chief ruler. Officer, captain, prince. Representative of the king. Let's see. Official commander. And that's spelled Sen Resh. Those are the two Hebrew words. Let's listen to it again.
Sam. Sam.
Yeah. Sar. Not Shar. Which, if this was if the little dot was over, let me show you. If the little dot was over the right side, then that would make the SH sound. But since it's on the left side, it makes the S sound. Okay? So let's listen again.
Sam.
Yeah.
Sam.
S, not Shar. Okay, so let's see. High-ranking official. Oh, Warden, look at that. That's why NLT translated it like that. You see that? So it picked up on that definition and used that in its translation until we get to the actual chart here. Make this a little smaller. Representative of the king. Let's close that. Representative of the king. Commander, official, prince, leader, ruler. And our verse is Genesis 39:22. 39:22. So that tells us that in this verse, 39:22, the keeper of the prison is used in the sense of commander of the prison. So we have Joseph, who is in Potiphar's house, probably a cold, dark dungeon. And so, of course, the warden had access to Potiphar. Of course, they talked to each other. Of course, they saw each other. They were in the same house. And plus, Potiphar was still giving Joseph stuff to do. So, my theory that when Joseph got out and interpreted Pharaoh's dreams, and he was promoted to second under Pharaoh, it is very likely that he became his boss's boss. How's that? For God making things work for your good. Wow. Okay. So that's my study for today.